And starting.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight as we present to you our Residence Life Parent and Family Info Session. Quickly introduce myself. My name is Annette Siminek. I'm one of the coordinators for the Assignments Office. And tonight we'll have our Associate Director, Ryan Cassis, who will be presenting some information regarding living on campus. We'll have that for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll go into some Q&A. So maybe take a few minutes as people are logging on. We see we have a lot of people joining us tonight, which is great. Hope to get a lot of information out there for you, answer some questions at the end of our presentation. And we have Ryan Cassis, who'll be presenting some information for you all. Again, thank you everybody for joining this evening. We're just waiting for some folks to hop on. And I'm one of the coordinators for the Assignments Office. And we have Ryan Cassis, who's our Associate Director today, who's going to be introducing and presenting some of information for living on campus. Welcome everybody. Here's Ryan.
Great, thank you, Annette. Well, welcome everybody, and on behalf of Residence Life, we welcome you to our Rutgers community. So I know as a member, a family member, or a parent of an incoming Scarlet Knight, you may have particular questions about living on campus. So we wanted to have a panel info session to walk you through your particular questions about your students' experience living on campus as they start their adventure in college during this really exciting time. Today marks June 6th, which is our housing priority deadline. And so this is the deadline in which we guarantee housing for all incoming students to Rutgers, right, for first year. So we wanted to take an opportunity now to offer the reasons why we believe your student belongs in our on-campus community. We in Residence Life advocate for students to be immersed in our residential campus community. From engaging in a diverse student population to learning about new cultures and understanding these initial steps to newly found independence. Living on campus is a transformative opportunity for students to learn outside of the classroom. Living on campus provides students extraordinary and fulfilling experiences that simply surpass just being close to certain buildings on campus and pretty much skipping the morning commute. It gives them access to what we call our residential curriculum, which is a planned approach to help students succeed not only academically, but personally and socially as well. In our experience, students are not only more successful academically, but they make many lifelong friends and have many lifelong experiences by living on campus. Our residential students are encouraged to take full advantage of the many wonderful opportunities and resources we have available by living on campus, including participation in our living and learning communities, additional out of classroom experiences, and connectivity to our campus community. It really all begins with this affinity to Rutgers that is built by getting students involved in clubs and organizations, attending programs offered by Residence Life, and exploring the number of dining halls, recreation centers, and gathering spaces that we have all across our campuses. Although students are members of our very large and vast, expansive university, students who live on campus can find smaller communities in one of our 4 distinctive residential communities. And with even more individualized and connective experiences in individual residence halls ranging from 200 to 500 students. Our residential curriculum plays a crucial role in fostering an environment of diversity, inclusion, and personal growth while in housing. Some important takeaways regarding housing on each campus is that we don't assign students based off of their academic major or affiliated school at Rutgers. Housing assignments are rather made based off of the date of application to when they come into the Residence Life Assignments office. And while our residence halls are offered on all New Brunswick campuses, many campus points of interest are just a short bus, bike, and now even scooter ride away. So we in Residence Life are here to help, but we are joined by many layers at the university, which I'll review here. We hire student staff. They are peer mentors, essentially, to students and what we call resident assistants. As we have a large Residence Life program, we have over 300 resident assistants who are directly supervised by assistant Residence Life coordinators or Residence Life coordinators. Assistant Residence Life coordinators are graduate students within our department currently enrolled at Rutgers in their academic career, whereas Residence Life coordinators are more or less master's levels professionals who serve the department. Each campus is also supervised by a campus director who feed into central administration. Something very unique about Rutgers Residence Life is that we have a residential care and support team to offer follow-up to students who need care or something that happened in the residence hall that we can provide extra support to students and connect them to the campus network. That includes Dean of Students, counseling and psychological services, and the health center. In addition to that, we have very wonderful relationships with our custodial and facilities maintenance staff to maintain a very safe and up-to-date level of housing. On nights and weekends, we do have duty structure in place in which we are the RA staff conduct what are called community walks, or are often called rounds. We also have duty rotations for assistant residence life coordinators and residence life coordinators who report to a director level. If things are escalated, we will respond to. In addition to that, we work with other on-call duty rotations, such as a counselor on duty for psychological services, our Dean of Students office, and Rutgers University Police Department if needed. Most of our residence hall options for first-year students are comparable. Most incoming students will live in a traditional double room with one other roommate. And as they progress in housing through Rutgers, they will see more options become available to them, such as suites on the Bush campus or apartments throughout the university. The apartments range from double rooms to single occupancy, and we have a housing lottery in the continuing years for students to participate in. When an incoming student comes in, they can expect to find things on the following list. But one thing that does trip some folks up is a twin XL. So when you are shopping for sheets, you want to make sure it has the XL label on it so that we don't have to make a return at Target. Interestingly enough, at Rutgers, you don't need to purchase a refrigerator or a microwave. Every student in a double room is provided a micro fridge that they share with their roommate. So there is no more mom and dad lugging up 4 floors a refrigerator. It is already included. In addition to that, all utilities are included. So that includes cable television service and high-speed internet. And there are staff on call during move-in that can help you set that up with your student, especially when it comes to gaming devices as well. Every student in residence life assigned to housing will need to carry a meal plan, but each hall will have a kitchen. In their continuing years, every apartment has a kitchen as well. However, these kitchens are available to student use, and they're also used in programming on behalf of residence life in the residence halls. Every area also has laundry, and one point of fact is that laundry is not included in the housing rate. So it is very important that a student keeps and maintains the RUID Express on their card so that they're able to use laundry function. Our residence halls do stay open over Thanksgiving break, whereas most of our residence halls do close for winter and spring break. We used to close for Thanksgiving break, however, being a very large residential operation, for a day or two to close just didn't make much sense anymore. So students will be able to access their rooms over Thanksgiving break. In addition to that, we do have facility staff on duty and available 24 hours a day, including a night crew that will come in and assist with any emergencies. And like I said earlier, even utilities are included, but we also include those communication services such as Wi-Fi. Living learning communities are ingrained in residence life and offer an even more intimate experience living on campus to engage with other students with similar cultural or academic interests. And this is in alignment with our residential curriculum. Our living learning communities, or often called LLCs, are offered to students to engage in with residence life, such as career networking or leadership building. We do trips to New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania at no additional cost for students. Students in our LLCs receive extra academic support through dedicated peer mentor staff, campus partners, and faculty. These experiences help better prepare students for the world post-graduation. So they're very valuable programs to us. Through the residential curriculum, we have made it a priority to engage students in intentional and meaningful living experiences that complement their academic journey. Students living on campus have the opportunity to join 2 organizations for leadership. This includes our Residence Hall Association, or RHA, and the National Residence Hall Honorary, or NRHH. RHA focuses on student advocacy within the residence halls and engagement outside of the classroom. By participating in RHA, the student will learn lifelong leadership and communication skills, participate in professional development events, and be able to attend both regional and national conferences from other student leaders across the United States. NRHH focuses on recognition and civic engagement and events for their building and other campus resident peers. We do really hope to see your student apply for and fully engage in the wonderful opportunities that we have in our communities and opportunities for leadership in our department as they transition to campus. So sort of the nuts and bolts here of what your student would need to do to apply for on-campus housing. First, if they haven't done so already, they would have to accept their admission and deposit at the university and be given access to what is called the My Rutgers portal, my.rutgers.edu. From there, they will be able to access the first-year housing application. It's about a 20-minute application that will have students be able to rank the campuses in which they have a preference to order in. It's important to note, again, that housing assignments are based on a first-come, first-served basis. So date of application is very important. Although edits can be made to the original application through June 30th, any of these changes on the housing portal that they make after their original application is submitted will not change that original application date. Some of the changes that they can make to their housing application even after it's submitted include editing roommates or roommate preferences, residential communities, such as any of our living learning communities, or living preference options, such as mixed gender floors or women-only residence halls. Housing assignments are then emailed to students the first full week of August. But keep in mind, if the assignment is not one of your students' more highly ranked campuses, it's important to understand that while we do our best to accommodate requests, not all incoming students receive their top ranked or highly preferenced campus. However, on the good side of things, our experience tells us that almost all students, after learning more about their campus after move-in, decline an opportunity to move when given the opportunity to do so. While our campuses are different, each of them are happy, vibrant, active, and enjoyable communities for students. It is when students get connected to the university in the first few weeks. They find their initial friend groups, they navigate the bus system, they head out to the dining halls, that they become connected to their residential experience, and they want to stay, regardless of whatever they thought prior to moving. And once the semester picks up, they're in their groove. So we believe that your student will love living at Rutgers, regardless of their housing assignment. One final point of note in my presentation here is dining. So for an incoming first-year student, they have to carry a 210 meal plan, which is averaging 14 meals a week. And that can be accepted at a variety of different locations across the university, to include 12 retail or takeout locations, and also 3 food trucks that Rutgers Dining hosts as well as the Harvest Juice Bar on the Cook Douglas campus and Henry's Diner on Livingston campus, built into the Livingston apartments. So we do have a question and answer session here that I'll turn over to Annette, but we invite you to engage with us, especially on social media. And Annette will provide some office contact information to our email if we don't get to a question that you asked today. So I'll turn it back over to you, Annette, for the Q&A.
Sure. So we've had a lot of questions coming up in our Q&A section here. I've been trying to get to some of your questions, answer some of them. Also, Ryan, can you explain a little bit of what is more highly considered regarding preferences on the application, a roommate request or a campus request? That isn't a question we do get often.
Sure. So there is sort of conflicting priorities here, right? A student wants to make their way to the campus in which they rank the highest and also have their roommate. So what the housing application includes is a question called top option. And this is a very important question for us in our algorithm of when making housing assignments. Essentially what it is it asks the student, would they rather be on their campus ranked higher or be with their roommate request, their requested roommate? And any variation of that question is answered within a drop-down answer of how to respond. But essentially, there has to be a determination between what is the priority for the student. Is it the campus or is it the roommate request? Now, that's not to say that we don't make it a priority to accommodate as many preferences as possible, but there has to come this conjuncture that we say, okay, the campus is more important or the roommate is more important.
Also, can you explain, Ryan, I know that some folks might have received information regarding BEST if they had selected BEST. And if they were not selected for BEST, how would that work? I know you explained a little bit about changing preferences on your application.
Yep, so Best Hall is a very popular living learning community or living option. So the housing application opened up in early March. And we have determined at this point that the number of students have applied to fill the building. And that has happened in early April. So students were notified that they are being put on a wait list, as students may not end up coming to Rutgers, right? So that opens up some space that we can reallocate for students on this wait list. But in the meantime, the wait list is here and it won't change. We know who applied. In the meantime, if they go back to the housing portal and edit their original application with what I mentioned earlier, they will see other options that they can select. So for example, if a student is an engineer and they really would like to get on Bush, it's worth it to go back into the housing portal and say they would like, a Bar or Matia engineering community. That at least would increase some chances of getting on Bush just by seeking participation in those areas.
Thank you, Ryan. Also, there's some questions regarding when assignments will be released. I believe you did discuss that.
Yep,
it will be the beginning of August. Mm-hmm.
The first full week of August. So that we aim more or less for August 2nd or 3rd. But our team works diligently throughout the summer to make those assignments. So as of right now, we are still collecting applications. Today is the deadline. So after today, we'll begin to assess, how many students applied, and what areas look like to make these assignments based off what students' preference in their housing applications.
And although today was the priority deadline, the application does remain open throughout the summer. You can continue to apply. The priority deadline, though, did guarantee housing up until this date, but if you have not applied as of yet, you can also still apply for housing. There's some questions also regarding move-in and transfers, and when transfers also get their assignments. It's the same for incoming transfers and incoming first-year students, which would be that first week.
So transfers due, so today's deadline is for incoming first-year students. The transfer deadline is actually June 30th to
Oh,
apply.
June 30th,
They have
excuse
a
me.
bit more time, but they both get notified. Both
Okay, so-
incoming students and transfer students do get notified the first full week of August.
So some questions also regarding when pricing for housing is shared. If you want to go over that a little bit.
So the Board of Governors meets in July to determine the room rates for the following academic year. So right now in the housing application, it walks students through the current academic year housing rates and asks students to anticipate a 3% expected normal increase of rates going from a year to year. So that is our practice in having an advance of contract, given that the Board of Governors don't decide that until July. But it does hit the term bills around the end of July, so you'll start to see those rates be applied, and financial aid will catch up quickly to that, and so we'll have the term bills adjusted as needed. One other thing with the move-in question. So move-in is currently scheduled for this week of the 28th, and it actually takes about a week for us to open up all of Rutgers housing. But really, first years have very designated days to come, and it's very important for first year students to come on those designated days. So when they get their housing assignment letter here in the first week of August, it will include a specific date and time that students will be scheduled for their move-in. We do get some questions about, can I move in early? Really, the goal is to try to have a very positive, comprehensive experience when students move in. So we want to make sure that the dining halls are open and operational. We want to make sure that our staff are available and ready to go, and that programming across the university is up and running to respond to the incoming students coming in. So we do push back on an early arrival requests, right? So I wouldn't expect that first year's move in prior to mid that week, like the 30th is about where we're landing. However, we will publish the move-in schedule very soon, and it will definitely be included in August. But I know vacation planning does happen, about now for August to get to the beach and stuff. But that kind of gives you some idea of the dates that we're working. Yeah, I think you're muted.
Sorry.
Yep.
Thank you, Ryan. Also, some questions regarding what's included in a room as far as like physically what's included in the room. I think there were some questions regarding if a TV is included. There is information on our website, and here's Ryan just put that back up here so everyone can see.
Yeah, so a TV is not included in the room rate. The students would have to bring them. Now, high-speed cable internet is provided, right, to connect right in. And we do have our information technology team on hand during first year move-in, or really all of move-in per se, that they will be able to resolve anything or set up any type of gaming console. That's a common question we get. But really, this list right here is what's provided in that room, right? So very standard university furniture. It is an extra long twin mattress, micro fridge, like I had said earlier. That really alleviates kind of a lot of stress in and out of the building, carrying heavy things. We also have move-in team as well, which are continuing students who volunteer to participate to assist with move-in. So we like to keep things moving very fast for moving. We like to keep moving. We have a lot of students to get in, right? So when you pull up, don't be surprised that there's 5 or 6 students in a red T-shirt that says Residence Life Move-in Team coming your way to help you carry things up the stairs. Some of our buildings do not currently have elevators, right? So there is that challenge, but I think it moves pretty quickly that they will move things along quite a bit.
Just wanted to let everyone know there are quite a few questions that are coming up in our chat here. If we don't get to your question, or your question is not answered for any reason, we encourage you to send us an email It would be on campus at rutgers.edu. I've also put that email in our chat so everyone can see. Our main website also is ruoncampus.rutgers.edu. A lot of information there regarding housing, what campus looks like, what some of the buildings look like. I know there's some questions about individual tours. We wouldn't be doing individual tours in a specific residence hall, but there are pictures there. You can see what the buildings look like. If you have, some questions regarding that, please feel free to go to the website. And I think maybe the chat, if it's not being seen, let's see.
Yeah, so we make things pretty easy here, right? So the housing portal is oncampus.rutgers.edu. Our email address is oncampus@rutgers.edu, right? On campus, like you're living on campus, @rutgers.edu, one word. And then of course, our website, ruoncampus.rutgers.edu. So there's some unique branding opportunities definitely there. I did see a couple of questions about roommates that I do want to kind of touch upon. So going even back to bringing the TV, that is along these lines, right? So connecting with other people to live with can be daunting, right, for a student coming in, and it requires a student to put themselves out there. We don't currently have a third-party vendor that does roommate matching. We actually found that students really weren't using that service when we had provided it in the past, that they liked the more organic social media, Reddit type, Facebook class of roommate groups to find students, right? But even when you're able to find that student you live with, you really do coordinate what to bring. So you don't have 2 TVs or 2 rugs and that type of stuff. So that connectivity is really important when you find somebody and you put on your housing application that you want to live with them. We do make every effort we can to match roommates together for that purpose, because there is this established scenario. The ways in which the roommates get spliced, as we refer to them, that one goes this way and another goes that way, is perhaps one applies for a living learning community and gets in and another doesn't, or one perhaps answers the top option question that we spoke about just a bit ago on the application that says, do you want your campus first or your roommate first? That question kind of deviates. So when your student finally finds that student that they want to live with, it's important that they go into their housing application to match as identical as they can those preferences, right? So that we're able to make an appropriate placement for them. And I think that is the best advice that we can give for the best outcome to put students together.
So some questions also regarding meal plans. If you can touch a little bit on meal plans for first-year students.
Yep. So all students at this point who live on campus will carry a meal plan. So for first-year students, they are required to carry a meal plan. So right now it's a 210 meal plan through Rutgers Dining, and that averages 14 meals per week. So they're able to go to any dining hall across the university, and we have some very unique changes to Rutgers Dining this year, such as more to-go options or grab-and-go options. Finding that students really aren't having that sit-down retail dining hall experience anymore, that Rutgers Dining is really coming up with unique and different options. However, those would accept meal plans as well. So the dining halls on Bush campus, Livingston campus, Nielsen on Cook Douglas, like those are anchoring dining halls for your student to go to, but not necessarily the only option for them as well. So we do ask that they carry the meal plan. They do not have access to individual kitchens, even though that there is a kitchen within the residence hall. Those really aren't sustainable for every meal, or every once in a while, that's fine, or perhaps an RA program those are being used for. But it really, they rely heavily on the meal plan, especially in between classes, getting to things that we find that having the meal plans available to students are really important. It reduces that stress while they navigate the campus.
Can you answer, Ryan, regarding the contract as far as the length of time for a housing assignment?
Sure. So all of our undergraduate housing options are 9-month academic year contracts, beginning upon move-in at the end of August and concluding mid-May, right before commencement. If a student needs more than that time, we do offer summer housing, and they would apply for that towards the end of the spring semester.
I did see a couple of questions regarding cars for students being able to have cars on campus if they live on campus as first-year students.
So this is a hot topic for students, right? So much like housing assignments are not based off of their academic program or major, nor is there assigned car location. There's assigned parking location. So it is typical for an incoming student to live on one campus and have their car on another. Really, what parking does do is prioritize commuter students to try to get their parking as close to the academic buildings as possible. So there are resident student parking lots. First-year students could bring it, although I would maybe consider that first semester as a trial period of not bringing it, just because the university's bus system is interconnected, and there's a lot more ride sharing options now than there used to be. But parking is done through parking and transportation. But again, that one key point is it does not correspond to the housing assignment. So it really could just be wherever it's most available for the student.
I do see some questions regarding honors housing or honors college. As far as move-in, that also will be information that's going to be shared with our full list of move-in. There'll be different
Yes.
dates.
Yep, so specific living learning communities or housing options do have different move-in dates. Some of them are prior to the general first year move-in. Those are to meet with peer mentors, get ready for classes, have individual orientation sessions. So that will be listed on our move-in website. Also, this year we are including individual move-in times with the housing assignment notification at the beginning of August. So you will know exactly when to move in. So any student who is admitted into the Honors College is required to live in the physical Honors College at 5 Seminary Place on College Avenue. However, that is not the only honors program at Rutgers. There's also SAS honors, EOF. So there is a variety of different programs that you have to be careful when you're on the website to sort of get the right one as to what your student's in. So again, this year we are making the effort to make it individualized, that this is your date and time to move in, and we're asking that students do make a concerted effort to show up at that time to reduce congestion, to make sure we're ready, and follow the move-in schedule appropriately. I think you're muted again. So even though we're going through the Q&A, we may not be able to get to everyone's question tonight. So I invite you, to contact our office for any specific questions that you might have, and that's at oncampus@rutgers.edu. Our office will be open tomorrow at 8:30, ready for questions. We know that today is the priority housing deadline for students to apply. However, the housing application will not necessarily close. Today is just the day that marks that we guarantee housing for the fall semester. So there is a $200 housing deposit as well at the end of the housing application. So that is a consideration to make when applying for housing. However, if the student remains in housing for the fall semester, that $200 does get credited to the housing charges back to the spring semester. So you do see that money eventually again, but it does take the student remaining in housing in the fall. Otherwise, if they don't move in and they cancel prior to move in, it is a non-refundable deposit, $200. And that is due, at the completion of the housing application as well. So I think we got maybe time for one more, and then we could.
I think I did see quite a few questions regarding roommates on the application. How, if you don't have a roommate, a specific roommate, how one is selected.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So I did talk about a little bit before of how to find a roommate and how that's more organic, putting the student out there. So this question about how we make assignments for a roommate is a good question. So on the housing application is a lifestyle questionnaire. This questionnaire is not all that comprehensive like an eHarmony would be, right? Like it's, do you go to bed late? Do you wake up early? Do you like loud, or are you more quiet? An important question that's asked is, are you a smoker? Are you a non-smoker? So we have an algorithm that we use to pair students together based off of those roommate preferences. So it's very straightforward that as they link together and they have similar preferences, or they answer the question the same way, that they will be together. There are some other components that we put in, perhaps campus preference with that. This is the part where you really want to make sure your student is completing the housing application, because sometimes we have it that they don't go to bed early. They actually stay up all night. So mom might be sitting there doing it, but you want to make sure that your student is involved so they know what's being selected, and we can make a good assignment, right? And set it up for success. Now, of course, our preference is that a student would find their own roommate. Our experience and just kind of common sense is if they come in with their own roommate that they've selected, that there might be a more positive outcome, that's a better roommate pairing because they have opted into that experience. But that doesn't always happen that way, right? So we do offer a room change process throughout the academic year. And if it's just not working out with a roommate, after the second week of the fall semester, students can apply and request a specific preference or go somewhere else to a different campus. So right now we have those requests, but that is already once the semester is started. So what we do is we lock in occupancy. We have the move-in happen. We have the academic year open. And then after that time, once we sort of take attendance, so to speak, because it takes a while to make sure everybody showed up and is in contract and in the right space, then we open up the room change process for students to switch if not just specific to the roommate, but if things aren't working out the way that they wanted. So we have that. And of course, it's important to keep open lines with residence life staff, right? It's not just maybe putting that application in and, well, I never heard back. It's perhaps showing up to one of our residence life offices that we have on each campus. Each campus has a red awning office, residence life, that we have staff local that can help students navigate their way through a residential student experience. So all is not lost if it's not going well, and it doesn't mean we kind of give up on housing and that's that. We ask that we be given a shot at mediating and trying to figure things out, and working with the student to see what might else be available to resolve their issue. All right, let's see your mute. So we have a lot. So I see we have a lot of questions coming in. We are going to keep the questions, and I do encourage you to get in touch with our office on campus at rutgers.edu with any specific questions that you might have. We have staff available throughout the day to answer questions. The department email address is being monitored by staff who are very knowledgeable in being able to answer. But I thank you all for coming on tonight. I hope that we have this appeal to why we believe your student belongs in on-campus housing. I know that this is the start of their adventure and it's an exciting time. And we hope to see your student on campus this fall. Thank you all.